Have you thought about how a character's design can hint that there's more to them than it seems? In Bleach, certain characters are designed in a way that sets them apart, drawing our attention and making us wonder, what could this be hinting at? Because in visual storytelling, design is part of the narrative, but it's particular details that serve a purpose planted as seeds. Small clues that guide us to try piecing the puzzle together before the revelation unfolds. They function as narrative clues, the visual cues that this character doesn't fully belong to their kind, and doesn't that difference foreshadow a part of their story still withheld? Which invites us to read between the lines to notice the hidden difference between how they seem and who they really are, and to sense that it's setting up a plot twist down the line. And it's through their distinctive visuals that the races are set apart. The hollows, with their hollow hole, markings, and bone masks, evoke a demonic visual motif. The Quincy with their bows and arrows, Quincy cross, and angelic-inspired motif. And the Shinigami with their traditional Japanese look. The visuals reflect the group they belong to. But as with any rule, there are exceptions, and those exceptions often hint at something deeper. Expressed directly through design even in the fonts Kubo assigned for each race. The most beautiful sword with a flowing ribbon attached at the pommel, wing-like ribbons in Bankai, a release command called Dance, and a sword named Sode no Shirayuki, sleeve of white snow, with sleeve hinting at flowing cloth, so doesn't it bring a certain race's imagery to mind? And when you remember that a sword reflects its wielder and that font directly correlates with race, Rukia blurs the boundaries between established races, just as we saw with the visored. Her Benkai transforms her, and the color of her sword white, along with her dual font, doesn't align with what's expected for her group. And when you think of a design that evokes the image of floating ribbons and techniques named using the word dance, graceful, almost celestial, what imagery comes to your mind? Isn't it Tennin, heavenly being in Japanese mythology? Their imagery is of heavenly beings, often portrayed as graceful women with long, flowing scarves circling them, who fly between heaven and earth, known for their connection to dance and music. And when you look through this lens, doesn't Rukia's design feel like a visual hint at her origin? Who else in Bleach are associated with the same imagery? The right arm of the Reio, detached and metaphorically fallen from the heavens, from the Reio Q, also evokes that imagery. Mimi Hagi, though lacking the visual elegance Tennin are known for, yet appears with a floating shawl encircling its fist, the design choice itself conveying that connection. It may not fully mirror the imagery, but it's there. The sacred remnant, the right arm of the Reio, with the Hagoromo, a motif that functions as wings in Tennin lore. Different forms, scarf or wings, yet all tied to the same heavenly angelic imagery. And when you remember that each race in Bleach has its own distinct visuals that set them apart, in that case, this imagery reminds us of a certain race, one with wings and imagery equivalent to Tennin's, which seems to align with Rukia's design, a detail that could hint at her origin. And when you look at how these visual choices blur the lines between the races, it begins to feel deliberate, doesn't it? If her design reflects Quincy imagery in Vollständig, despite being introduced as a Shinigami, then doesn't that suggest her origin as a former human could be connected to the Quincy, spiritually aware humans? And doesn't her Bankai hint at it? Wings like Quincy Vollständig, though lacking a halo yet crowned with a half crown of ice? But is it just the imagery, or is there more? Rukia's element ice and snow. Doesn't it feel like it mirrors the Quincy Empire's aesthetic? And in Bleach, fonts do correlate to race. Isn't it interesting that Uryu, as a mixed-blood Quincy, has one, but the pure-blooded Quincy were never given a racial font? And isn't that what the transparent side of Rukia's dual font seems to reflect? And maybe that's what she's been hinting at all along. Not just a connection to the Quincy, but to the pure-blooded Quincy, the ones who were never given a racial font. Thank you for watching. Do you think stories ever truly end? Or do they always leave us searching? One story at a time, one sip at a time, until next time.